Luke continues on, and certain of the Pharisees said to them, Mark, and the Pharisees said to him. So certain of is added in Luke, it's not in Mark. Matthew, but when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him. Okay, that actually has even more. Not just that they said to him, but also that they saw it. And not just that they said it without a period of time, but when they saw it. So, in Matthew, this verse begins with, but when the Pharisees saw it. So that but would be like a contrast. It shows that there's a problem, and now there's something contrary to what happened before. And then after that, still in Matthew, he answers, and it begins with, but he said to them. So it's like contrast and then contrast. So I don't know if I want to have both of those. Maybe I do. Mark has, and the Pharisees said to him, and then Jesus respond, and he said. So it's and then another and. Same in Luke, and then another and. So I could really pick if I want to have both ands, if I want to have the but twice, if I want to have the but and, or the other way around. And the Pharisees saw it, but Jesus said to them. I had a thought. I think the best place to put this turnaround, right, which would be, and is like a continuation, this and that, but if you say but, that's a change. That should come when Jesus responds, because that's the big finale. The Jews reading this would understand that what Jesus did is wrong. You're not supposed to do that. So the Pharisees questioning him, that's not going to be a big deal. Matthew's writing this to the Jews. He uses the word but twice. I think that's because it's a big deal that Jesus is caught doing this, and his response is also a big deal. However, to us, him doing something contrary to the rules and regulations of the Pharisees. Again, this is another thing that I mentioned earlier. Jesus is constantly breaking the rules and regulations of the Pharisees all the time. It's because they're bad rules. They're not God's rules. They're not in accordance with God's ways. And Jesus has no problem in their face breaking their rules. So there is a time when you should, with love in your heart, utterly reject commands from men that are wrong. So anyway, I think I'm going to continue with an and. And the Pharisees saw him, and they questioned him. But Jesus said, I think he gives the example of David. Yeah, when David did eat when he was hungry, he ate the bread from the temple, which is only for the priests. Okay, so I'm going to continue with and, not from Matthew. When the Pharisees saw it, however, I'm going to use, and the Pharisees said to him. So, and certain of the Pharisees. And when certain of the Pharisees saw it, they said to him. That's what we'll do. And from Mark, Luke, when is only from Matthew. But certain of the Pharisees is in Luke. And then the Pharisees should be in all three. The Pharisees, Luke, the Pharisees, Mark, the Pharisees, Matthew, yeah. The Pharisees, and then in Matthew, they add another bit, saw it. When they saw it, they said to him. Mark just has said to him. Luke just said to them. So Matthew only saw it, comma. They said to him. Luke just said to. Mark just said to, so they is still a part of Matthew. Said to him, behold, your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. So they're speaking directly to Jesus in Matthew. And Mark said to him, behold, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? Still talking to Jesus about the disciples. Luke, and said to them, why do you that which is not lawful on the Sabbath day? So in Luke, they're talking to everyone. I think that perhaps there's more words in Matthew. They said to him, behold, your disciples do that which is not lawful upon the Sabbath day. Instead of just saying, why do you that which is not lawful on the Sabbath day? How is it actually read? And his disciples were hungry and began as they went to pluck the ears of corn. So it seems to be that only the disciples were eating the ears of corn. Even in Matthew, it says his disciples were hungry and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. It doesn't say Jesus plucked the ears of corn, and he's talking about your disciples do that which is not lawful. Luke, why do you, oh, he's talking to them, why do you that which is not lawful? Said to him, behold, why do they? Okay, so in all situations, the Pharisees are speaking about the disciples only. However, in 2 of 3, they're speaking directly to Jesus as opposed to the group. So, because of that, said to them, why do you that which is not lawful to do on the Sabbath? I think that you can't really have both. They couldn't be saying, why do your disciples, only speaking to Jesus, and have, why do you speaking to everyone? It can't be both. So, I think since all 3 are clear that they're speaking to Jesus about the disciples, they're only accusing the disciples, it would be better to leave that in the words. They're saying to Jesus, why do your disciples do that which is not lawful? And plus there's more words explaining that than in Luke, which just said to them, why do you that which is not lawful? So I'm going to go with what is said in Matthew, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? Yeah, it's still talking about your disciples. Your disciples do that which is not lawful. So that's the most descriptive, is in Matthew. It's about exactly who they're talking about, and no less, no more. They is the disciples. Saw it. They said to him, said to them. So they're definitely talking to Jesus. So I'm going to say said to from all 3, but him from Matthew, Mark, comma. There is a comma in Luke as well after them, but the comma's still there. Luke continues, why do, shows to you, but those 2 words might be in all 3. Why do is in Mark. Matthew, nope, it says, behold, your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. So it's not really a question, they just accused. Your disciples are doing something wrong. In Mark and Luke, they're both asking the question. In Matthew, they're not. I think I'm going to go with the question because it's in 2 instead of 1. The words are all there. Your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. They're just missing the why, or they're missing the why do, and the question mark at the end. And they add behold. Said to him, behold, why? I could do that, yeah. Behold from Matthew only, and then why do from the other 2. Behold, comma. Why do they on the Sabbath day? Why do you? Just your disciples. So I'm just having why do from Mark and Luke, which is dark gray. Why do lowercase? Why do uppercase? Because that's the first thing they're saying in Luke. Oh, look at that. Behold is in Mark. I did not see that. So this is not just red. It's dark red. Okay. I don't know how I missed that. Behold, why do? So I'll leave the Y lowercase because they only capitalize the first letter if it's the first word in that quote. So I'll leave it lowercase because I am putting behold first. Why do? And now I know I'm saying your disciples instead of just they. But that's only from Matthew. Although your disciples is capitalized. Oh, it's talking about Jesus. Okay. Your disciples now do that which is not lawful. So in Mark it mixes it up. It says, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? Matthew, your disciples do that which is not lawful on the Sabbath day. So Sabbath day comes last in Matthew, comes middle in Mark, Luke. Why do that which is not lawful on the Sabbath? So Sabbath day comes last in Luke. Okay, so I'll do that since it's Matthew and Luke. Sabbath day last. Why do your disciples that which is not lawful? That which is not lawful. Mark, that which is not lawful. So it's in all 3. It's last in Mark. It's a little out of place in Mark, but it is in all 3. Why do your disciples... If I could have another do, that would be perfect. Why do your disciples do that which is not lawful? But it would fit because of the way it reads in other places of the Bible. Why do your disciples that which is not legal? It's why do they implied things, actions that are not lawful? But it's not there. Why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? Why do your disciples that which is not lawful? Oh, look at that. Your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. Do is actually twice in Matthew. If I put it where I want and later where it still is, that would be 3. Why do your disciples, continuing with Matthew, do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day? Well, I already mentioned the word do earlier from Mark and Luke. I don't think I have to have the second one that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. Or I could get rid of the first do in Matthew, and it would be, why do your disciples, like it has in the other two, just that which. Why do your disciples that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day? Yeah, that would work. That would fit. Not lawful. Not lawful. It just ends that way in Mark. It's not lawful to do. Okay, the to do on the Sabbath day is in Matthew and Luke. So I think I like that. Because that's in Matthew and Luke, I think I might cut out that first do after your disciples. Yeah, I'll just go with it. Why do your disciples that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath? So I'll skip this do from Matthew. I could say it comes before your disciples. Yeah, I'll have that do be all three. That way, I recognize that it is there in Matthew. It'll just be out of place in regards to Matthew. So, your disciples, no comma, that which is not lawful, Mark, that which is not lawful, Luke, that which is not lawful. Alright, all three. That which is not lawful. Now, that's the end in Mark of this phrase. But in Matthew and Luke, as I said, they add with to do upon the Sabbath day. To do on the Sabbath day. So I like on, to do, not upon. You're not doing it to the Sabbath day. You're doing it during the Sabbath day, which would be on. This would be only Matthew and Luke. To do on is in both. It's just half the word in Matthew. On the Sabbath days, question mark. In Luke, in Matthew, it just says day. I know I'm having the question mark. I think this is the first time he gathered food on the Sabbath day. There are other times when he told people to walk certain distances that they found to be too long because it'd be going outside of your Sabbath day's journey. He also healed people on the Sabbath day, obviously. So this could work where they're saying to do on the Sabbath days, but this is directly after, and in regards to them eating the corn, rubbing them in their hands, and Jesus responds exactly about this when it comes to the eating the food. So I'm going to keep it as it has in Matthew, on the Sabbath day. And then the question mark is only from Luke because it's just an accusation in Matthew. But it is a question in Mark and Luke. Actually, I can put that question mark in dark yellow because it's from Mark and Luke. Although it's not going to be in the address, but I'll put it there just for those who are obsessive like me. Yeah, that fits wonderfully.